You're watching Rogers TV, St. John's.
Welcome to today's luncheon with the Honourable Siobhan Coady, Minister of Natural Resources. I'm the chair of the board. What? Mic's not on. Hang on. Am I up? Hello? Hello? I don't think it's working. Doesn't seem to be. What?
Switch there?
Nope. Where's the guy? Hello?
It's not that one. It's this one here.
No. We need the house mic. Take two.
Yeah, I mean, I could hear you fine. Actually, there is no microphone. There's no microphone. This is a light.
Wow.
So you need something there.
All right. I can't talk into the light.
Yeah. So this is directly to me.
Yeah.
That's fine. These are these guys. Yeah. So yeah, there's no mic here.
Minutes, so much appreciated if we could get started. I'm on a tightrope with this voice of mine. Probably if I had no cold I could scream at you all day, but we're at a very, so we just a couple of minutes for a mic? Okay, so I'd just like to welcome you today to today's luncheon with the Honourable Siobhan Coady, Minister of Natural Resources. I'm the Chair of the Board of Trade, Janice Byrne. In my professional life, I'm Executive Vice President Legal with Pennacon. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. I'd ask you now to please stand for grace and a toast to business. Let us be thankful for our good fortune to be able to live and work in Newfoundland and Labrador, to enjoy many freedoms and the blessings we receive from our families, friends, and co-workers. Please take a moment to give thanks. Now I'd like to join me in a toast to innovation, in the words of Thomas Edison. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Enjoy your lunch, everyone, and I promise we'll have a mic when we come back.
Check, check, check.
Okay, so can you hear me now? Good. Well, you continue to enjoy your lunch. Just a couple of announcements before we introduce Minister Coady. A couple of events coming up at the Board of Trade. On September 24th, we will be hosting a debate for the candidates in the riding of St. John's East. Nick Whalen, Jack Harris, and Jody Wall will be in attendance and taking your questions in this town hall format event. Registration is now open on the board's website for this event. I just want to talk a little bit about the advocacy the Board of Trade has been doing. Being a Board of Trade member means different things to different members. For some, it's to your business's social network. For others, it's the opportunity to tap into experienced resources. And for others, joining the board goes hand in glove with doing business in our community. Whatever your reason, the board advocates for you and your business. We advocate to all levels of government, ensuring that the voice of business is heard during legislative and policy development. This past week alone, we have advocated with respect to development regulations at City Hall, minimum wage, and Bill C-69. Being a member offers your business the opportunity to be a part of the board's advocacy and to have a role in shaping our policy. The board can and it does speak in an objective way on behalf of business. And of course, part of our doing business and our ability to do it is our sponsors, who we can't thank enough for their tremendous contributions to the board. We're very grateful for our platinum sponsors and for their commitment to the business. We would like to recognize Deloitte today, represented by Tim Fahey, and BMO, represented today at the head table by Rob Cunningham. Thank you very much for what you do with the board. And now I'd like to call on Danny Reed, one of the board's ambassadors, to introduce Minister Coady.
Thank you, Janice. Good day, folks. I initially had a funny little story quib about Newfoundlanders and their ability to pronounce unique names. Upon seeing these two wonderful medium mics up here, I'm going to shy away from that one and just go back to the fact that we're both actually from Grand Falls, perfectly centered. So shout out for that, Minister Coady. It's my pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, the Minister of Natural Resources and the Deputy Government House Leader, Siobhan Coady. Minister Coady was first elected to the House of Assembly as the member of St. John's West in November 2015, prior to joining provincial politics from 2008 to 2011. She was a member of Parliament for St. John's South, Mount Pearl. She's also a distinguished career in business and has been recognized as a top 50 CEO in Atlantic Canada. Siobhan is an entrepreneur and a business leader as well. She previously owned and operated businesses as diverse as Newfound Genomics, a biotech research facility, and Bonaventure Fisheries as well, a fish harvesting company. She's the past chair and governor of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce and is past president of our own St. John's Board of Trade. She's an active community member, serving with the Royal St. John's Regatta Committee, the Newfoundland Labrador Business Hall of Fame, and the Airport Authority. Siobhan is married to her high school sweetheart, Pat Coady, and lives in St. John's with her nephew, Brooke, along with their Labrador retrievers, Jam Jam and Jersey. But I thought you said there might be another one. Is there a third? So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me with a warm welcome to bring up the Honourable Minister, Siobhan Coady.
That was funny. Thunder wants me to give him a shout out because he didn't get recognized. So Thunder, Jersey, and Jam Jam, we're all very appreciative of your applause, I'm sure. But great to be here this afternoon. Can everyone hear me? The mic is a little to my right. I just want to make sure everyone can hear my booming voice. Perfect. Thank you. And thank you for the kind introduction. As I said, it's always funny to sit there and listen to your life, and especially when it gets down to being married to my high school sweetheart, Pat. I'll go home and remind him of that tonight. But it is an honor and a pleasure to be here today. And, you know, it really brings back a lot of memories about being the board's chair. But you didn't mention it, but it was over 25 years ago that I was chair or president of the St. John's Board of Trade. Yes, I was very young. But it was a great learning experience. The lessons I learned as a young business person with the Board of Trade really do stay with me today. Much of my tenacity, as well as my enthusiasm to grow the economy, improve opportunity and growth here in this province, come from understanding the potential here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And I learned that from the St. John's Board of Trade, and that confidence in our ability as Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. As John F. Kennedy once said, things do not happen, things are made to happen. And at the St. John's Board of Trade, things are made to happen. And look what's happened. In 1997, adjusting for inflationary measures, our provincial real gross domestic product was $18.7 billion. $18.7 billion. This number has grown by 65% to over $30 billion in 2018. Now, much of that growth is because of our natural resources, and it's my privilege to have been the Minister of Natural Resources for the past 4 years and responsible for energy, mines, and oil and gas development. Every day, I see the potential and opportunity before us and work with companies and stakeholders and individuals to make it happen. And I want to share with you my enthusiasm and the reason I know there will be success in continuing to grow and develop the economy, which in turn provides us with the best place in which to live. In the past 2 years alone, there's been a commitment of over $18 billion in investment in oil and gas and mining projects alone. No wonder I'm so enthusiastic. You know, things aren't all smooth sailing. There's an old proverb that smooth seas do not make for skillful sailors. In Newfoundland and Labrador, we faced challenges and adversity and weathered many storms. We are skilled sailors, and we rise, we find solutions, and really find ways to move forward. Now, I inherited the Muskrat Falls project in 2016. Now, much has been said about the project, and I won't lament it here today. I will say that it is now on a better track and coming to completion with no change in schedule or cost since we got it under control in 2017. Now, however, we are left with the financial burden. But with the same dedication and determination that our government used to clean up the project, we do have a solution to prevent electricity rates from doubling, which would have happened if we did nothing. Our plan is very clear. We want to protect you from the cost of Muskrat Falls. It is challenging, but it is not impossible. The mortgage on Muskrat Falls is scheduled to come due in 2021. We have a team of people working on ways to lower costs, raise revenues, sell and export excess power, and improve the financing arrangements of the project. The federal government has agreed to work with the province to find ways to manage the mortgage. Several meetings have occurred between our government, and in particular the Premier, and myself and Minister Morneau, and officials are continuing to work toward a conclusion by January of 2020. We are doing the work, but we have also asked the Public Utilities Board to share its expertise and independent perspective on options to pay for the project. We look forward to their final recommendations, and they too will have their report to me by January of 2020. And while there may be some opportunity cost, full efforts are being made to protect you from the cost impacts of Muskrat Falls. While those might have been some rough waters with hydro development project, there's still much opportunity with renewable energy. This province has an abundance of wind, hydro, tidal power, solar power, and we're even talking about hydrogen. Imagine developing these significant opportunities to improve and strengthen the Atlantic region's energy sector and drive economic activity. Earlier this year, Atlantic premiers and the Government of Canada committed to develop a clean power roadmap for Atlantic Canada. Just think about it. Nova Scotia currently has about 55% of usage of coal on their energy grid. 55%. Relies heavily on coal to generate electricity. They use about 30% renewables. In Newfoundland and Labrador, by way of comparison, Newfoundland and Labrador, once the Muskrat Falls project comes into play, will be about 98% renewable. Imagine if that roadmap, with all the collective wisdom that we have to work together to build a clean power network, imagine what we could do for greenhouse gas emissions, for ensuring that renewables are on the electricity grid in Atlantic Canada. So there's good opportunity there, and the Department of Natural Resources have fully engaged, and work is ongoing on that opportunity. Government is also working to find reliable, cost-effective, renewable energy solutions for the 20 off-grid diesel isolated communities that currently use diesel here in Newfoundland and Labrador. This past April, in partnership with Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro, we sought expressions of interest for those renewable energy solutions. We had a number of really impressive submissions from the private sector come forward, and these are being analyzed. And further, to ensure we are maximizing every opportunity of Newfoundland and Labrador's renewable future, we are also developing a renewable energy plan, and we're looking forward to having your input on that plan over the next number of months. The world indeed needs more renewable energy, and we in this province are working to supply that demand. Now, I also said that I was responsible for the mining industry, and let me tell you, there's some exciting things happening in mining. Mining has been an integral part of Newfoundland and Labrador's economy since the first major mining development in Tilt Cove in 1864. Mining and mineral exploration are integral to the province and show how strong business creates thriving communities. With almost $4 billion in mineral shipments currently forecast for 2019, the mineral exploration and mining industry directly employs more than 4,800 people in this province. With a globally increasing population, the world will require increasing volumes of products that require metals and minerals, including cobalt for electric cars, rare earth minerals for wind turbines, copper for magnetic resonance imaging equipment, iron ore for buildings, and nickel used in stainless steel applications. All are available here in Newfoundland and Labrador. A world of possibilities is at our doorsteps because of our geology. And we've seen some extraordinary new developments in mining over the last few years. The opening of CFI Fluorspar in St. Lawrence, a $2 billion capital investment committed by Vale to go underground, the development of the Wabush 3 deposit by the Iron Ore Company of Canada, the proposed development of the Argyle deposit by Anaconda Mining, the start of gypsum mining in western Newfoundland and Labrador by Red Moon Gypsum and Galen Gypsum, the restart of the Beaver Brook antimony mine in central Newfoundland, and the restart of the former Wabush mines by Takora Resources in Lab West. So yes, mining has been an incredible generator of economic activity in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And we've seen advancement of mineral exploration with a Marathon's Valentine Lake Gold Project in central Newfoundland, Matador's Cape Ray Gold Project in southern Newfoundland, and Search Minerals Rare Earth Element Project in southern Labrador, to name just a few. These are developments that support thousands of direct and spin-off jobs while positioning our province as a global leader in valuable minerals. To plan for a changing global economy and to embrace opportunities, we've initiated the Way Forward on Mineral Development, Mining the Future 2020, a plan for growth in the Newfoundland and Labrador's mining industry. We worked with Mining NL and other stakeholders in the industry to develop this plan. Our vision is of Newfoundland and Labrador as a global top-tier jurisdiction for mineral exploration and development, one that is safe, environmentally responsible, maximizes benefits and opportunities, and competitively produces quality projects for global markets. The success of mining the future depends on our ability to attract and support prospecting, exploration, and development while working within industry that is driven by commodity markets. We have the opportunity to increase exploration expenditures, mineral shipments, revenues, and jobs right here in Newfoundland and Labrador. By 2030, we envision at least 5 new mines with sustainable full-time direct employment of 6,200 people, a doubling of the annual exploration expenditures to over $100 million a year, and over $4 billion in annual mineral shipments. Now, in the Department of Natural Resources, we're also doing a continuous improvement process within the department. And especially, we've really focused on the mining industry. And I know that people in the Board of Trade will be very interested in this, because I know that you really want to collapse all that red tape. But just let me tell you what the continuous improvement process has done. It has taken, and I'm going to use just one example, quarries. It used to take over 6 months to get a quarry permit in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. We've gotten that down to less than 1 month. So continuous improvement, encouragement of exploration, development, and working with stakeholders will really help drive continued development and improvement within the mining industry in the province. Now, oil and gas is also very critical. And I remember I was incoming chair of the St. John's Board of Trade when Gulf Canada pulled out of Hibernia. Yes, I know that wasn't yesterday. When Gulf Canada pulled out of Hibernia. And all the work that St. John's Board of Trade did to convince the federal government of the day what a good investment it would be to be involved in the Hibernia project. And we prevailed, the Board of Trade prevailed, and in the spring of 1993, I could just see Nancy down there laughing now, in the spring of 1993, we all gathered for a celebration to mark the signing of this historic agreement. Now, it has generated billions of dollars to Canada. And we are jammed into the old Colony Club. Everybody remember the old Colony Club on Portugal Cove Road? We were all jammed in there. And I think Nancy and Bruce Tilley at the time had, I don't know, double the capacity of the place. And we were all sitting, and I remember that was a time when everybody was lined up. You know how you used to have a head table? And I remember sitting there, and I was president of the Board of Trade at the time, and Janice, you were worried about the microphone. We were actually just schlepping food across the table to everybody. But it was a great celebration, and everyone was so excited to begin the oil and gas industry. And boy, what an industry it has grown. How important an industry it is to our province. It now represents some 25% or higher of our gross domestic product, 25%, and is producing 25% of Canada's light crude. 25 years and 25%, easy numbers to remember. Oil and gas industry has played a pivotal role in the growth and development of Newfoundland and Labrador's economy over the past 2 decades. The industry's impact on local employment, business opportunities, revenue has made significant contribution to our standard of living, to our public infrastructure, programs, and services that we can deliver as a government. Ensuring the continued growth and development of this industry is vital to our success. And I'm really happy to see there are a number of operators here today, the operator for Equinor, the operator for ExxonMobil, and really welcome and glad that you were able to join us, both to Uni and Peter. Really want to make sure that that impact continues in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. As I told you, 25% of our gross domestic product, 41% of our exports over the last 2 decades. Over $500 million spent on research and development, education and training since 2004, and over $56 billion spent by industry on expenditures here in Newfoundland and Labrador. That's why this past year, the department and myself were working with the Oil and Gas Industry Council and industry stakeholders, and we developed and released Advance 2030, and it's a plan to continue to grow oil and gas opportunity. Together, we are positioning the province as an internationally preferred location for oil and gas exploration and development. And we've made some significant progress on the immediate priority actions and specific initiatives. About 95% of the Advanced 2030 immediate priority actions are either complete, but our work has to continue and there's more work to be done. Being internationally competitive is critically important priority that has been identified both by industry, by stakeholders, and of course by all of us here in the province. The cost and timeline for exploration to production is a major consideration for companies when making global investment decisions. Through a lot of the geotechnical work that we've done here in the province to date, we know that there are over 650 leads and prospects, which is key to finding the next Hibernia. In less than 7% of our offshore, think about that, less than 7% of our offshore, we have an estimated independently verified resource potential of 49 billion barrels of oil. 49 billion. Now put that in perspective. To date, there have been 3.9 billion barrels of discovered oil in Newfoundland and Labrador. So we have a potential, and in just 7% of our offshore, of 49 billion barrels. Relative to the other offshore jurisdictions, Newfoundland and Labrador remains relatively underexplored. So we're pretty excited. So in order to grow, we need increased exploration drilling, and that has been our immediate focus. We've attracted 8 new entrants in the past 3 years. There is close to $4 billion in recent exploration work commitments, despite the global downturn. And that equates, by the way, to about 60% of the total bids made in our offshore since 1998. Sorry, 1988, even better. In fact, in November of 2018, the province received record bids for offshore exploration totaling $1.38 billion and a single record bid of $621 million for a new entrant, BHP. There are currently 8 oil and gas companies who have submitted 10 new multi-well drilling plans for environmental assessment. ExxonMobil has contracted West Aquarius drilling rig and is currently exploring in the Jeanne d'Arc Basin, and for the first time since the early 90s, I believe, they're operators of a frontier well exploration program in the Flemish Pass, and I can tell you, I have my prayer beads out on that one. It was recently announced that Equinor has contracted the Transocean Barents next year to further explore licenses they have in the Flemish Pass. And there are reports that CNOOC, formerly Nexen, will bring the Stena IceMex drill ship to the Flemish Pass next summer. That's all pending, of course, environmental approval. And then there's the exciting potential that's been identified in the Orphan Basin. BP is awaiting approval to begin exploring in that basin, and we're anticipating their exploration program to begin in 2021. So over the next number of years, you're going to see increased exploration in some very exciting areas. And I know that we want to encourage more exploration, and we're continuing to do that. And one of the ways in which we're encouraging that exploration and to ensure global competitiveness, we, along with our federal counterparts, as well as CNLOPB, have initiated a regional environmental assessment of offshore exploratory drilling. Conducting a regional environmental assessment is an important step in having routine, well-understood, low-impact activities such as exploration wells completed in their regulatory process in a more predictable and timely manner. So right now, if you were to decide to do an exploration well offshore Newfoundland and Labrador, it could take you over 900 days to get a permit to do that 90-day well drilling program. We're hoping to bring that down to something that is much more reasonable in the 4 to 6 month frame, because we know we have done the strategic environmental assessment, we're doing a regional environmental assessment, and we'll be able to have much more information available and then be able to have that process much more streamlined. That's on exploration. There are several projects also moving ahead. The West White Rose project will provide substantial direct employment and business benefit to the province. It's currently going to provide about $3 billion in royalties, equity, and taxes, and first oil is expected in 2022. And as of June of 2019, there are almost 2,800 people working on the project in Argentia. We also signed a framework agreement with Equinor and its partner Husky Energy on the Beta Nord project, which will open up a new basin in the Flemish Pass. This project will create an estimated 11,000 person years of employment over the project lifespan, generating over $3.5 billion in government revenues and $14 billion in economic activity. We're looking forward to having sanction on that project. No pressure, Uni. But that is an exciting project. We're looking forward to opening up a new base in offshore Newfoundland and Labrador. Suncor and Terra Nova joint venture owners recently announced that they are going to proceed with a project that will extend the life of Terra Nova FPSO vessel to approximately 2031. And that's wonderful news to the province, as it gives additional benefits. Suncor estimates that the extension will allow the Terra Nova FPSO to produce an additional 80 million barrels of oil. Now, they will shut down in 2020 for maintenance to extend the FPSO life, and that's going to take about 6 months. But it's an exciting opportunity here in Newfoundland and Labrador. The majority of the engineering for this project will be completed in the province, and a large portion of the pipe spooling and bulk materials required for the project will be fabricated or supplied by Newfoundland and Labrador-based suppliers. And there are a number of local benefits, including employment, procurement, and prefabrication work, as well as provincial taxes and royalties. Through 2031, the Terra Nova Asset Life Extension will bring over $2 billion in provincial royalty payments and directly employ 1,100 people in the province. Opportunity truly does surround us. Newfoundland and Labrador is blessed with an abundance of natural resources. Intertwined with this is our entrepreneurial spirit, our culture of hard work, our perseverance, and our strength of character. Michael Jordan once said, "Some people want it to happen, some people wish it to happen, and others make it happen." And I know that I'm surrounded by people that make it happen here at the St. John's Board of Trade. There's so very much a great amount of opportunity in Newfoundland and Labrador. And as I said earlier, $18 billion in investment committed in natural resources development alone in the last couple of years, and there's much, much more to come. I hope I now have you as enthusiastic as I am about our future, and especially the future in natural resources. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here with you today. Thank you.
Siobhan, thank you very much for taking the time and joining us here today to share everything good happening in the natural resources sector. While obviously the role of oil and gas is undeniable in our economy, it was great to hear an update in government initiatives as well on renewable energy and mining. I see we have our friends from Growler Energy and some Altius Minerals folks here too. So thank you very much for giving us that expansive overview. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in showing your appreciation to the Minister. Thanks for coming out today. Hope you enjoyed your luncheon. And as always, if you can leave your name tags on the table so we can recycle, that would be much appreciated. Have a great day.